All right, have you ever just stared at a problem and it's so massive you have no idea where to even begin? I mean, whether you're trying to launch a brand new product or just fix a process that's totally broken, that first step is always the same. You have to understand it. So today, we're going to unlock the art and science of information gathering. This is the bedrock skill you need to solve pretty much any complex challenge out there.
Just think about it for a second. You spot a system that's clunky, it's slow, it's just not working. And your first instinct, right, is to jump in and start fixing things. But you gotta pump the brakes. How in the world do you even begin to solve a problem? You can't. It's that simple. Before you can build anything new or fix what's broken or improve what's already there, you have to know the lay of the land. And that's exactly what we're breaking down today. The absolute must-know methods for understanding a system before you ever try to change it.
Okay, so let's start with a really important idea here. Gathering information isn't just about checking boxes. It's this incredible mix of a structured approach and, well, human intuition. It really is both an art and a science. So, what does that actually look like? Well, the science part is about using those proven tools and methods. We'll get to those in a minute. But the art, that's the magic. That's having the sensitivity to hear what's not being said in an interview or the common sense to spot a bottleneck in a workflow just by watching. It's knowing exactly what to ask and when. It's a skill, and it's one you can absolutely get better at.
So, where do you even begin? I mean, to keep yourself from drowning in a sea of data, you need a game plan. And luckily, you can really focus your efforts by thinking about three main pillars of understanding.
First up, you've got the firm itself. What's its mission? What are the big picture goals and policies? This is your context, right? You can't pitch a solution that runs completely counter to the company's DNA. Second, the user staff, the people. What are their actual day-to-day jobs like? What do they need to do their jobs well? That's the human side of the equation. And finally, the workflow. How does a piece of information, say an invoice, actually travel through the system? Mapping that out shows you how things really move. If you can nail these three, you've got a fantastic 3D map of the entire system.
Okay, so now you know what you're looking for: the company, the people, the process. The next logical question has to be, where do you actually find all this stuff? It doesn't just magically appear. You got to know where to look.
So, speaking broadly, all your sources are going to fall into one of two buckets. You've got your internal sources, that's everything you can find inside the walls of the organization. And then you have your external sources, which is all the information from the bigger world that the organization lives in.
Internally, yeah, you've got the official stuff, financial reports, dusty old system manuals, piles of transaction forms. But don't you dare overlook the people. The folks inside the organization, from the frontline staff all the way up to the legal team, are often your most valuable sources. They know all the unwritten rules and what's really going on.
And what about outside the company? Oh, you've got vendors, government regulations, industry news, all sorts of things. These external sources give you that crucial context. They help you understand the competition, the legal hurdles, and the new tech that's changing the game. They show you all the forces pushing and pulling on the organization from the outside. All right, we know what we're looking for and where to find it, so let's talk about how we actually get our hands on it. It is time to open up the analyst's toolbox. We're going to focus on four primary, totally time-tested tools. Think of these as the absolute essentials that every analyst needs to have in their back pocket. Digging through the paper trail, seeing the process for yourself, talking to people one-on-one, and then scaling that up with questionnaires. First tool out of the box is your foundational research. This is your homework. Before you even think about talking to a single person, you read. You dig into every manual, report, and form you can find to understand how the system is supposed to work on paper. This gives you a baseline and helps you come up with much smarter questions for later on. Now, what's so interesting here is the trade-off. On one hand, a good current manual can be pure gold. It can save you hours and hours of work. But, and you can see the danger on the right, what if that manual is 5 years out of date or it was written for a totally different department? You could end up building your entire project on bad information. So it's a super powerful tool, but one you have to use with a really critical eye. So after you've done all your reading, it's time to see the system with your own two eyes. This is on-site observation. It's where you step away from the documents and into the real messy world. The goal here is pretty simple, but it's incredibly profound.
You want to see how the system actually works, not just how the manual says it should. You're watching people, how they interact, the whole flow, trying to find that critical gap between the theory and the reality. This is where you find all those clever little workarounds people invent that you'll never, ever find in a manual.
And now we get to what our source material calls the oldest and most used tool in the whole toolbox, the interview. This is where you sit down face to face and just talk to the people who live and breathe this system every single day.
You know, the power of an interview, its main advantage is its incredible flexibility. You can follow those unexpected leads, you can dig deeper into something that's really complex, and you can build a human connection in a way no other tool allows. But this comes at a price, and that price is time. A single, well-run, one-hour interview can easily gobble up 3 or 4 hours of your time when you factor in all the prep work and the follow-up. It's a huge commitment. So to make that time count, these 5 steps are just crucial. You have to prepare, so you're asking smart questions. You have to build rapport. Making someone comfortable is how you get the real answers, not just the official ones. And maybe most importantly, listen way more than you talk. That's where the insights hide. And then always, always take time afterwards to review and pull out the key lessons. Okay, but what if you need to get information from dozens or maybe even hundreds of people? That's impossible to do with interviews. And that's where our final tool, the questionnaire, comes into play. This is your go-to tool for gathering data at scale. The big wins here are efficiency and anonymity. You can reach a massive audience really quickly, and people might be a lot more honest when they don't have to attach their name to something. The risk, though? Well, look at the right side. You might get a really low response rate, or even worse, get back a bunch of vague, one-word answers from people who just have a hard time putting complex thoughts into writing. And a huge part of designing a good questionnaire is knowing your question types. Do you want rich, detailed stories? Then you use open-ended questions, like, describe the biggest challenge you face with the current system. Or do you want clean, easy-to-analyze data? Then you use closed-ended questions, like, on a scale of 1 to 5, how happy are you? The way you structure your question completely determines the kind of answers you get back. So we've got our 4 tools: reading the literature, observing on site, conducting interviews, and sending out questionnaires. The last, and maybe the most important piece of this puzzle, is knowing which one to pull out of the toolbox and when.
And this quote from our source material really just says it all, doesn't it? There's no magic formula. The real skill isn't just knowing how to use an interview or how to write a questionnaire. It's having the wisdom to pick the right tool, or more often, the right combination of tools for the unique job in front of you.
So the next time you're facing down some big, complicated problem, don't just leap to a solution. Stop and remember your toolbox. You have the methods to go from confusion to clarity to truly understand the challenge before you act. The only question left is, which tool are you going to reach for first?